My name is Joe Lair, and I am a patient of Dr. Gilbert Simoni. I live in Agoura Hills here. I'm a sales agent for textile fabrics. I never thought that my job would be a remote job, but here I am working remotely. I probably experienced GERD symptoms, I don't know, probably 15, 20 years. Didn't know it was GERD, but I've had symptoms for a long time. And then somebody referred me to Dr. Simoni, and we obviously discovered through an endoscopy that I had, a loose lower sphincter valve and a hiatal hernia. My symptoms, my most severe symptom was the acid that would come up to the throat. That was definitely the worst part of the whole deal, and that did not happen often. But when it did happen, the effects of it lasted for weeks or a month, and the effects were sore throat, gargly voice, and that was the problem with that issue, let alone whatever it did to my esophagus. And we were finding that my esophagus had some changes. We don't know if it was because of the GERD or not, but we think it might. I had some, Dr. Simoni did find at one point some Barrett's. Fortunately, he didn't find it last time, but we did another test to do a further review of that. So I went on years on the PPI, and then after a while, we discovered that I could even have silent GERD, which I would have, symptoms and not know it because it scarred the area so much. So I was on the proton prohibitors for a long time, and I had my yearly endoscopies, and my symptoms were getting worse. I had heavy belching, very deep belching, which was also very uncomfortable. Was another symptom I had. Also, I had chest pain right in the middle of my chest. And the first time I ever had the chest pain, of course, you think it's a heart attack. And that happened on several occasions. I can eat hard food, soft food, it wouldn't matter. I can drink water, and I would still get that very tight feeling in my chest. And I assume that's heartburn. I don't know. So after years and years and years, Dr. Simoni suggested the TIF surgery, and I thought about it, and I just let it go. But last year, when we did the endoscopy, we found that my hiatal hernia grew from 1 millimeter to 2 millimeters, and my symptoms were worse. The PPI that I was on had a side effect, and I ended up getting osteopenia. And I don't know for sure that it's from the PPI, but that is one of the side effects, as I understand. So with everything and all that, I decided to go ahead and do the surgery. I did the hiatal hernia and the TIF at the same time. Recovery was not terrible. I had slight chest pain after a day or two, which I didn't even take any pain meds, maybe a Tylenol. And then the diet is a little bit of an issue. But once you get past the liquid part of the diet, and I can go to mushy veggies and mushy stuff in my blender, I felt a lot better. I only really felt better when I was off the complete liquid diet, which was only, I think it was only on that for a day, maybe a day and a half, if that. And then, the diet for 2 weeks was not fun, but I felt good. I felt better every day. And the big joy was my first whole meal. that was just, I think that was 2 weeks later that I couldn't eat a solid meal. And my first solid meal was tilapia, very light white fish, and it was the greatest tilapia I've ever had. And since then, I just feel great. I just keep saying that this is one of the greatest decisions I've ever made. I stopped the PPIs, I think it was 2 weeks. I had to take it for 2 weeks after the surgery, I believe. And then after that, I stopped it and just threw them out. I have to tell you, during the pandemic, I just ate so many hot dogs, in various ways, hot dogs and eggs or hot dogs and vegetables. I just, I did the Trader Joe's, no nitrate, especially during the pandemic when I was stuck home. I could eat anything. I had no issues, no belching, no chest pain, no regurgitation. I experimented with foods I haven't had for 20 years. I go to my deli and have chopped liver, and all it did was taste good. I had no issues. I continued not to have any issues. And one of the things that I always wanted to try was chopped liver, like I said before. Delicacy, it's a very rich food. It destroyed my stomach years ago, and I had no issues.